Hey, welcome into Dom Time. Tonight joining us are Mark Byers, Rockstar Entertainment, marketing and cultural influencer. And we're kind of going to him as kind of a go-to guy on this, trying not to badger him around these issues of not only rap music, but culture, etc., the N-word and a bunch of words. And Natasha Lewis, author and internet radio host. Let's go to Greg in Philadelphia. Greg, thanks for being first in tonight. Go right ahead.
Dom, good evening. I just think that this word and the mere fact that we're having a show about this says that we're letting this dominate our culture. No other ethnic group has this dominate their culture. Italians, Jews, they don't talk about racial slurs. They're talking about other issues that have kind of progressed them, like economics, ownership. We're sitting here and we're talking about music, the N-word. Jews don't do it. Italians don't do it. Not that they haven't, but they're not doing it now. And it's just keeping us in place. We're just being held in place. So we shouldn't really be able to use it. There's no double standard here. No one should use it. No one should use it. We move on. Okay, that's it.
Well, look, I would agree with that, but it's all over the place, a double standard, and we're seeing it play out right now. So that's one of the reasons we're talking about it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I understand that, but Jay-Z, doesn't matter. Jay-Z or a rapper or a corporate executive, we all hear the word.
But here's the thing, Greg, and maybe Mark can speak to this. Like it or not, we're living in a pop culture world of one sort or another. And any number of these figures do have influence, subtle or not so subtle, not just rappers. Across the board, we see people that do this. And as a result, this is it influences all of us to some degree.
Doesn't make it right, has to start at home. And just because someone does it doesn't make it right. Athletes,
right.
Doesn't make it right.
Okay, thank you, Greg. We're in agreement.
You're welcome.
Mark, let's talk a little bit about what you do. If you don't want to name the company, that's okay. As a cultural influencer, how do you analyze and take a look at a particular lifestyle or whatever? I don't think you do a whole lot of research. They're hiring you because you have an eye for this type of thing, right? Mm-hmm. So when you do that, give us a sense of what do you do? How do you tell people what to do as far as marketing a product? You don't seem to be based upon what you say tonight, go gangster and all that type of thing.
No, it's not really my role. It's not really my role. It's really like a natural progressive tie-in. If there's a woman in sports and, you might have a brand that's in sports and they never really looked at that woman as being one of the voices for what they do, but they live that lifestyle of what the brand is, then we create these natural synergies to give an additional spokesperson for that company.
Okay. One of the reasons we have, let me piggyback on that, Natasha on, she represents to me a brand of African-American women as far as the things that she projects that are very strong, very measured, et cetera. Mm-hmm. And we don't often see portrayed, I don't think, Natasha, that you see out there portrayed in the popular culture too much at all.
Well, we talked about that too on my show, my online talk show, how unfortunately a lot of the reality shows, I think they paint a bad picture of the black woman fighting and the cussing and the carrying on, and that doesn't give a good representation of the good quality of women that are out there.
Yeah, when we mentioned Italians before, it's the same thing.
Yeah,
these big mouth Italians, two of them who I don't even think are here legally and may be banned from the country, they were stars of these shows. So we have that type of thing, and there's damage, but I think Italians have arrived at a spot where the damage isn't going to sink them, whereas with this, the damage can be much more detrimental.
Yeah, I don't think that we can afford the type of images that are projected on television. I think there should be more of the Natasha Lewises out there and positive images of women that represent our culture.
Well, we saw the Cosby Show, the Huxtables. Now that certainly was, I've interviewed the guy, the psychologist Poussant, and I think it did have a tremendous impact on white America. We get a lot of information through sitcoms. Right. Is there any that you can think of right now that are positive? And I can't think of any that are big right now, that are African-American families or anything related to
Only one that I could recognize is probably Run's House.
Okay.
He's a pastor, former rapper, and, he utilized the show to show family values, and, they built a family business right at the show, and there was no bastardization of the culture.
How about a guy like Tyler Perry? Wildly successsical. Mm-hmm. I see it as a negative, but I'm not in this.
Yeah, Tyler has his pros and cons.
Exactly.
Okay.
He has his cons of, the consistent African American, dressing up in female garb and stuff like that. It could be his reality. We don't know this. Right. So in that instance, okay. but the reality of him building a great business, you know, and being sound enough that he's creating some level of floor for people in Atlanta to be able to have jobs.
Or even just to have
You know?
a voice for the African American people, to have somebody to see, so our children can see themselves on television as well. So.
Yeah, so I'm not necessarily, you know, totally against him, because that could be his reality. That could be the reality of the African American family that he grew up with. It's not my reality. But at the same time, the one thing that we have to get people to clearly understand is no different than any other race. We're not all the same.
Okay. All right, coming up more with Natasha and Mark here. We'll take more of your calls just like Greg as Dom Time continues.